Hi guys, and welcome to another video. Today we are continuing with our grade 12 paper 1 preparation, and as you can see here we are on question 7, which is financial maths. Okay, now if you would like to do this paper together with me from the beginning to the end, I've put all the videos in a playlist, as you can see here, starting from question 1 all the way to the end. So what I would suggest you do is click on the link in the description or in the comments. I'll pin a link to this playlist so that you can start from question 1 and work your way through to the end. And I think that that is going to be excellent preparation for your paper 1. Okay, so question 7.1 asks, John invests an amount of money in an account paying an interest at a rate of 15% compounded monthly. Calculate the annual effective interest rate of this investment. Okay, so the effective interest rate. So when we want to calculate our effective interest rate, the equation is 1 plus I effective equals, open brackets, 1 plus the nominal interest rate. So the nominal interest rate, so I'm just going to go I nominal. Okay, you may see that as M, but I'm just going to put it as I nominal. I'm going to put this over the N, which is the amount of times it gets compounded. And then we can now put this in the formula. So what I like to do is I actually like to put the 1 onto the other side straight away. So I just like to memorize, because you do not get given this formula, is I like to memorize it as 1 plus I nom. I'm putting the words in here just because I know you guys are writing pretty soon. And so I just want you to just try and memorize it in terms of what it actually is, rather than getting confused with letters. Okay, and then N is the amount of times it gets compounded. And that is to the power of 12, which is the amount of times it gets compounded. Okay, I'm going to change this actually to N at the top, okay, because then you can see there is the equation. So if it was compounded, let's say quarterly, you'd put a 4 here where you see an N, where you see the N's. Okay, and then it's minus 1. All right, so you put that into your calculator like that, rather than having to do the things all at the end. So just memorize this here for tomorrow, or if you're looking at this in 2026, hopefully you've got a little bit more time, you can memorize this and practice it a few more times. Okay, so it's 15%, right? Now I can put it in my calculator as 15%, or I can put it as 0.15, or sometimes people put it as 1500 or 15 over 100. Okay, however you do it is fine. It's over 12, and that's to the power of 12 minus 1. Okay, and what you're going to get is a value which you then have to multiply by 100 to get to your percentage. Okay, so in this one, when we put it into our calculator, we get 0.1608. And so our I effective, is then you just multiply that value by 100. So put this in your calculator. And then if you get a 0.1608, then you know that you just need to times that by 100. And then you put it to the nearest 2 decimal places. Okay, so that's the first one. Let's look at what the next question asks. Okay, so Tino invests 500,000 Rand at a rate of 6% per annum compounded quarterly. He withdraws 11,250 at the end of every 3 months, and he continues to make regular withdrawals until there is no money left. How many withdrawals of 11,200 will he have to make? Okay, so what we have to do here is we use our present value formula, okay? And the 500,000 is going to be your P, okay? Because that's what it presently is, okay? Because he's investing 500,000, right? Now, what we then do is we use our payments formula, okay? So the payments formula, so let me just write in the formula that you're going to use for this question. It's going to be P equals X 1 minus 1 plus I to the power of negative n over I. Okay, and so it's 11th, X is our 11,250. Okay, so that's our 11,250 is our X, right? 1 minus 1 plus I. Now, what is our I? Our I is 6%. So we're going to write either 6% or 0.06. I'll do it differently this time. Divided by 4, because it's it's quarterly, right? So there's 4 quarters in a year. Then it's to the power of minus n, which is what we want to calculate, right? How many withdrawals? How many withdrawals? Divided by, oops, our interest, right? That's that 0.06 over 4. Okay, now when you're doing this, what I like to do is I like to just multiply both sides by 0.06 over 4 so that that will cancel. Okay, so my steps to doing this are timesing both sides by 0.06 over 4 because then that will cancel. Okay, and I'll do it on both sides. Right, and then what I do, because I'm running out of space, I'm going to do this in one step. Then what I'll do is divide both sides by 1250. Okay. Sorry, not 1250, 11,250. Okay, and then therefore that the 11,250s cancel. And then what I'm left with is just the 1 minus 1 plus 0.6 over 4 to the power of n equals this value here when I put all this together. And when I put all this together, I get a nice value of 2 over 3. Okay, and so then I have 1 minus the 1 plus 0.06 over 4 to the power of minus n. Now what do I do next? Well, I can take the 2 over 3 and subtract the 1. And so then I'll get negative a third equals negative this 1 plus 0.6. And so I could divide both sides by 0 then. And so I would get a third equals 1.015 to the power of negative n. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of time. If you already know how to do logs, that's fine. If you don't, I'm just going to take a bit of time to just show you how I remember logs. And I just remember the following. Log base number equals exponent, right? I remember log base number equals exponent because exponent is what I want to get, okay? So log base number equals exponent, right? So I do the log of the base, right? Now the base is the base of a tree is at the bottom, right? So that's the 1.015. I'm just going to do it here. So I'll say log the base. Okay, so when I think base, I think of the base of a tree. That's the thing at the bottom, right? Or if you live in the basement. Hope you don't live in the basement. And then the number is the number by itself. That's 1 over 3. And then I get equals my exponent, which is my negative n. Okay, negative n. And what I get when I do that is I get my n to equal 73.788. Now, even though this number is bigger than 0.5, I don't round up. I round down because he wants to withdraw 11,250. So at that point where he's drawn the 73rd, there won't be enough in the account to draw the 74th amount of 11,250. So my answer is n equals 73 withdrawals. Okay. Let's go to the next one. This is the last financial maths question in this paper. It's not a huge section, but I know that a lot of people do struggle with the financial maths, so hopefully everything is making sense. All right, so this question, a little bit of a long one. On the 1st of March 2021, Abby made a deposit of 12,000 Rand into an account earning 9.5% per annum compounded monthly. She deposits 500,000 on the 1st of April 2023 and monthly deposits of 500 on the first day of each month thereafter. Calculate how much money was in the account immediately after the deposit of 500 on the 1st of March 2025, exactly 4 years after the initial deposit. Okay, so first of all, we're going to do the 12,000, right? Because that's initial. And we take that up to 4 full years. Okay, so if we were to do that as a timeline, it would be 12,000 here at T0. And that would go up to 4 years. So I'm going to put here T4 because it's 4 years. But in brackets, I like to put 48 because it's monthly. It's compounded monthly, 9.5% compounded monthly, right? So if we look at that, the interest is 9.5% over 12. Okay, now let's take that up in green. Okay, so that's A equals P1 plus I to the power of n, right? Because it's the future value of this 12,000. And that's going to be 12,000, 1 plus 0.095 over 12 to the power of 48, right? 12 times 4, 48 months. Okay, and that's going to give you, let's put it into your calculator, and you get 17,521 Rand and 18 cents. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to find out the payments, okay? The payments, what were the payments done? So now we see that the payments were done 2021, right? Oh, no, sorry, 2023, right? So that is 1st of March to 1st of April. Don't worry, because this 1st of March will end on the 31st, right? We take the 1st of April as T24, okay? Now, what I've noticed is people tend to sort of go with odd numbers, 23, or they add a 20 and they're 25. Guys, what I've noticed for the last 5 years is these numbers they make it kind of quite convenient. Okay, so they don't try and trick you up anymore where you have to add a month's interest on or that sort of thing. So we're going to take 24 and we're going to get the future value because this is like an annuity, right? You're investing 5,000. So we're going to use the future value formula, which is x 1 plus I to the power of n minus 1 over I. And now we can put that in, right? So our 500 Rand is our x, right? The way I remember this, guys, is I remember F means what do I have in future? So if I'm investing in my future, any sort of investment, you want to use F. And if it's X and the P, then I think, well, I'm paying off a loan. So if you get a paying off a loan type formula where you have, say, you borrow 500,000 and then you have to pay an amount each month, that you're going to use your P formula with the X in. Okay, so that's how I remember it. 0.095 is the interest over 12 to the power of, now this is going to be 24 months, right, to 45th. So let me put here I should have put here T2 and in brackets 24. Okay, because it was 24 months, but 2 years. So that is going to be 24 minus 1 and divided by the 0.095 over 12. And that, I put in my calculator now, and I get 13,158 Rand and 65 cents. And now all I do is I simply just add these values up. Okay. So my total, let's do the total in white, shall we? Total equals the 17,521.18 plus the 13,158.65, and I get my final value of 30,679 Rand and 83 cents. Okay, so that is the financial section. Guys, I'm going to clear this off and show you the next question, which is going to be the, we're on to calculus, our question from first principles. Okay, so I want you guys, please, to try and do this on your own. If this has helped you, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I hope I've earned enough in this video to get your subscription and like. If not, hopefully I'll see you in the next video and you can subscribe in that one. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next one.